So, may condition tayo. But, if you can compute for the minimum number of teeth on this particular equation, or on those equations, you need to do that. At least you can satisfy kung tama nga ba yung assumption mo o hindi. Depende yan. Okay? So, you can use the 17 feet on that one. Now, so what are the other conditions that we must follow in terms of design of a chain? So, if we are going to connect two sprockets, okay, by this means of a chain, okay, now, so another condition for good design, okay, for good design is that if you have an odd number of teeth, okay, pag meron tayong odd number of teeth on the smaller sprocket, okay, odd number, okay, of teeth on the small sprocket, for good design, you should have an even, okay, even number of teeth on the larger sprocket or vice versa. Okay? So, pag ang design natin ganito, pag add tayo rito, okay, you use even number of teeth on the other side. Or if you have an even number on this side, you should have an odd number on the other side. There's actually a reason for that. Okay? One reason for that actually is that yung wear ng chain natin, either the sprocket or the chain. Bakit wear? Kasi kung titignan natin, pag ginamitan natin, pag gumamit tayo ng chain, okay, ang kasama niya, yung sprocket, pareho silang bakal. Okay, both metal. So the problem is that the wear of the metal, either the plate or the sprocket or the chain, will be much greater. Kasi naglalaban yan, parang bakal yan. Okay? So therefore, in order for us to lessen the amount of wear that we have on the chain and on the sprocket, we can follow this particular condition. Okay, an even condition of it or the even and particular condition. Now, bakit ganun yan? Okay, bakit ganun? Bakit nagkakaroon tayo wear? Bakit inasatisfy na natin ganun yan? Well, let's consider now this is the chain. These are the sprocket. Okay, so una, palagay lang natin na dito do. Okay, so this chain now is slot dito. So pag ikot niya, probably nandito pa rin siya. The same. Okay, the same sprocket teeth. Pag ikot ka, the same sprocket pa din yan. Now, if in case pareho palagi ang tinatamaan ng chain na to, doon sa number of teeth, ang wear niya, mas madaling mag-wear out ito kaysa doon sa iba. So, to make sure na pantay-pantay lang sila, dapat yan, pag ikot niya rito, dapat lumilipat siya ng sprocket teeth. Palipat siya. Lumilipat siya ng chain. Okay? So that the wear will be more or less, okay, lessen. Kung hindi man, pantay-pantay dapat ang wear natin between the chain and this sprocket that we have. Okay? That's why you have to consider that. Now, but it does not necessarily mean that you can have an even number of teeth or an odd. Pwede naman dalawa yan. Depende sa design. Okay? But to follow the condition, pwedeng add even or even add condition that we have. Okay? So those are now what we term as the determining the minimum number of teeth on this sprocket. Alright now. So one for a lower chain and the other one for a silent chain. Alright, now another thing is that we can compute also for the pitch line velocity. Okay, so note that, paano ba natin gina-compute ang velocity ng pulley? Meron tayong pulley o kaya shift. Okay, how do we compute for the velocity, the pitch line velocity for this one?
Pi dn.
Okay, pi dn, di ba? So, pi dn tayo, number 12. But, if you are using now a sprocket, it will be different. You have to consider now the pitch as well as the number of teeth and RPM. Okay? So, yung pitch line velocity ng smaller sprocket, let's say this is 1, this is 2, should be equivalent to the pitch line velocity on the other side. Equal lang sila. Okay? The same equal particular value for the pitch line velocity. So, etong T natin yan, depende. Pwede sa smaller or larger sprocket, RPM ng smaller or larger sprocket, and that will give you now the pitch line velocity. Now, so you can also determine the size or the pitch diameter. Pag sinabi natin pitch diameter ng sprocket, it will not be equivalent to this one. Okay, yung mean diameter. And we compute for that by using this particular equation. So, ano pag-compute natin? Okay, yung pitch natin, kaya kanina, all over sine 180 all over t. Anong t natin na yan? That t represents now the number of teeth on the smaller or larger sprocket. Depende na kung anong diameter ang kinocompute natin. If I want to determine the diameter of the largest sprocket, number of teeth of the largest sprocket. If I want to compute for the diameter of the smallest sprocket, number of feet on the smaller sprocket. Okay? So these are the conditions. Sine 180 all over t that we have. Okay? And the pitch also. So notice that in the previous equation, up to this time, ginagamit pa rin natin yung pitch ng chain. So therefore, it's very necessary for us to determine the pitch of the chain, okay, before using this particular equation. Now, if in a V-belt, we can determine the number of strands, okay? In a chain, ganun din. Dalawang klase lang. If you are using a roller chain, you determine the number of chain, ilang chain ang gagamitin natin. But if you are using now a silent chain, it is not the number, it is the width of chain. Okay? Pag sinabi natin silent chain, ang hinahanap natin, gaano kalapad yung width ng chain natin. Pag ginagamit natin ang roller chain, ilang chain ang gagamitin natin. Bakit ganun ang condition? Because of this form, yung form, okay, of the chain. Yung silent chain, ang hinahanap natin dyan yung width. Ito. Okay? If you are using now a roller chain, ilan chain ang gagamitin natin? How many? Okay, that's why you can have a multiple chain or multiple sprocket. Pwede rin yan. Parang sa V-belt din, multiple V-belt. Okay, now, so to determine now the horsepower per strand and the horsepower per inch of chain width, you have now these two particular equations. Okay, this one is only used for a roller chain and this one can only be used for a silent chain. Now take note that both of these equations are not given in pairs. Iba yung ginagamit na equation ng pairs for determining the horsepower per strand or the horsepower per inch of chain width. Okay, so you can probably put this in the textbook kasi iba yung ginagamit niya ron. Hindi niyo makikita ito ron. Kahit hanapin natin, wala tayong ganitong equation. But in some other textbook other than phrase, these are actually represented. So these are actually taken from the manual. Okay, yung standard chain, silent chain and sprockets that we have. Now, so ano yung equation natin yan? Again, for the roller chain, this will be the pitch squared velocity, this time velocity. This will be 26 minus 25 cosine 180 over t. Okay, na ang t na yan, at saka ito will be number of feet on the smaller sprocket, not on the bigger. Why smaller? Because we are determining the design based on the smaller sprocket. Kaya yung number of feet na yan will always be based on the smaller sprocket. Alright, ito 25 cosine 180 all over t yan. Ito v raised to 1.41. Ito naman, 425 t minus 8 that we have. Again, so both of these are for the roller chain and the silent chain. Right? Now, do not interchange the two equations. If you are dealing with the roller chain, this will be the equation. If you are dealing with the silent chain, this will be the equation. Hindi pa pwede na pag nasa roller chain tayo, gamitin ko ito. Hindi ganon. Okay? Do not interchange the two equations. Now, unlike in a V-belt, when we compute for the horsepower per strand, we are correcting that. Diba? Sa V-belt, kino-correct natin. In terms of what? The arc of contact as well as the length of the belt. Okay? But in terms of a chain, whether roller or silent chain, there are no more correction factor to this. Okay? The correction factor now, ito na yan. Kung ano nakuha natin dito, yan ang gagamitin natin. That's that. If I want to compute for the number of strand or the width of the chain, I can now use that, or I can use this equation or this value on this particular equation. Ito na yan. Okay? So, design HP all over the horsepower per strand, design HP all over the horsepower per inch of chain width. What will be the equation for your design HP? Same equation as we are using in terms of a V-belt. But, how do you compute for this one? Ano ba yun ang equation natin dito?
NSF transmitted.
Diba? Yung service factor multiplied by transmitted horsepower. So, yung table 17.7 na ginamit natin for determining the service factor will also be used in terms of a chain. Pwede rin yan. That's why, you know, if you are let's say HP, you divide it by this one, sana ko yan, ito, then you get now the number of strands. So, number of chain ginagamit natin. Pag silent chain naman yan, pag na-compute mo siya rito, divide mo siya sa HP, you'll be getting now the width of the chain. Lapad ng chain natin. Okay? So, you can now determine, distinguish ito between the silent and the roller chain that we have. Now, if sa V-belt at saka sa flat belt, meron tayong length ng chain o length ng belt, ganun din sa chain natin. Meron na two lengths of chain. One given in terms of lengths and the other one given in terms of pitches. Take note of the two equations. if your length of chain will be given in terms of links, kasama yung pitch natin dyan. Now, T1 and T2 represents now the number of feet on the smaller and larger sprocket. And you'll see, represents now the center line distance. Okay, now, if you want, pag pitches naman, nawawala yung pitch natin dyan. Ito kasi, ang unit nito will be given in terms of inches. Okay? But this one will be given in terms of links. Ilang kabit-kabit. Pag sinabi nating links, ilang ganito. Okay, mabibilang natin ang number of links. Pag sinabi naman natin na, let's say, length ng chain, pitches, magmula rito, sinukat ko yan, hanggang dun. Para meron tayong tape measure, kinuha natin yun. Pero pag links, bibilangin ko doon. How many links, okay, are required. Now, so another consideration for determining, okay, the length of chain, if the chain will be given in terms of the number of links. Okay, another condition. So, sa length ng chain, dalawang klase, di ba? Sabi ko, ang unit natin can either be in terms of the links or given in terms of pitches that we have. But, if the length will be given in terms of links, okay, for good design, again, consideration, for good design, see to it that if the length of chain will be given in terms of links, the number of links, okay, should be an even number and a whole number. Okay, so we must follow this particular condition. When we talk about the length of the chain, okay, the length of chain, if given in terms of length, should be an even number and a whole number. As again, a consideration for the design of a chain that we have. Now, notice in that equation that we do not have any particular equation for the center line distance. But from our textbook, okay, from our textbook, it says that the center line distance can be computed this way, using now this equation, D2 plus D1 all over 2. So, mababasa natin to doon sa libro natin. Ito yung pag-compute niya ng center line distance. More approximate center line distance. Actually, meron tayong kinoconsider din yan na exact center line distance, exact length ng chain natin na yan. But more or less, pwede nang gamitin ito. Ano yung dito natin? Dito now is the sprocket diameter or pitch diameter of large sprocket. And this one is the pitch diameter of the smaller sprocket. Okay? So these are taken from the textbook. Nasa libro natin yan. If you're going to read your textbook, you can actually see that one. Okay? Alright, now. So what are now the other conditions that we can follow in terms of the sprocket design or the chain design? Alright. If you go back to your textbook, okay, now. So the table 17.8 represents now the roller chain number. Ito yun. Okay? So table 17.8 represents now the pitch diameter or the pitch of chain. These are the chain number. Now, ano itong ibang data natin dito? These are actually dimension if you want to determine this one. Okay? Kung gusto natin kunin yung design, yung sizes dito. Okay? This one, yung pinaka-size niyan. Yun, lahat yan. These are taken from this one. As long as you know the chain number, makikita mo yan dito. Yun, meron naman siyang representation. If you're going to draw or you're going to make a certain diagram for determining the size of the chain, you can use this one. Table 17.8. Now, what are the other table? Ito naman, table 17.9. Ito naman siya. Okay? So, sometimes, we want to determine the rated horsepower. Palagay lang natin. I want to determine the horsepower to be transmitted, probably the driving horsepower. But anong data ang meron lang sa akin? Palagyan natin, given ka lang ng speed, yung velocity, at saka given ka din ng number of feet. Okay? So those are the data given. So wala siyang binigay na ibang data, kundi yung number of feet lang, as well as what? The speed. Okay? Now, knowing those two values, okay, and knowing also the pitch of the chain or the chain number, we can determine the horsepower required for that. So, dun sa table 17.9 of your textbook, this is the one. Okay? If you know the RPM of your chain as well as the number of teeth, corresponding to that will be the horsepower of the chain. Pwede natin kagad malaman ang rated horsepower natin. Provided that you know what? Yung pitch number o yung chain number as well as yung tinatawag natin na RPM as well as the number of teeth. And also this table will give you the type of lubrication required. Take note that parehong metal yan. Okay, habang tumatakbo yan, it gives a heat. So in order to cool off the system, you need to lubricate that. Lubricate natin yan, kaya kasi lalagyan ng grasa. And what type of lubrication can be used? Itong ginagamit natin, given dyan. Meron tayong type 1, type 2, given yan sa libro natin. Okay, so these are now the table 17.9. And notice that for each chain number that we have, you'll be having a particular type of table. Hindi pa pwede kung RC40, pwede gamitin yung RC41. Okay? So, meron yan, ha? These are now the equation or the table that you can use for determining the type of chain that we have. Right? So, these are the things that we need to consider. Okay? Pakalagay yan. Meron table, meron dyan. Figure. Hindi yung figure. Meron figure yan, di ba? Figure. So if we're going to draw the system or draw the chain, nakalagay dyan kung ibig sabihin ng A, B, C, D. Nakalagay dyan sa isa. Okay? So these are now the tables or the equations that we can use for a chain. So again, this is basically an empirical equation in order for us to determine the design of a chain. Okay? So, simple lang ang equation natin, but take note that it's very important that we determine first the chain number. Kasi pag wala tayong chain number, just like in a V-belt, we cannot determine or we cannot complete the design of the chain that we have. Okay?